What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Resistance. Day one of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. We about to get into it. Shout outs, Big Spoon. What's going on? Appreciate everybody that joined in. Gonna go over some testimony from the Livestreamer who was there that night when Kyle Rittenhouse shot 4 people, killed 2. Very interesting things. Y'all let me know what y'all got from out of it.
To the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse, the case of the teenager who killed 2 people and injured a third during protests after the police shooting of a black man last summer. Alex Perez has the latest.
18-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse is standing trial for murder, at times yawning in court. The defense playing videos of the night of the shooting, telling jurors that Rittenhouse was the one threatened by protesters, leading him to open fire.
They shooting. What this case will come down to, it isn't a whodunit. It was Kyle Rittenhouse's actions privileged under the law of self-defense.
But prosecutors arguing the teenager intended to kill.
Hundreds of people were out on the street, and the only person who killed anyone was the defendant.
August 2020, Rittenhouse, 17 then, armed with a semi-automatic rifle, traveled from nearby Illinois, he says, to help protect businesses in Kenosha, the city clouded in protest at the time after a white police officer shot Jacob Blake. Rittenhouse talked before the shooting.
We don't have non-lethal.
He's accused of shooting and killing demonstrators Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber and injuring Gage Grosskreutz. Friend Dominic Black, who bought Rittenhouse the rifle, testifying Monday.
You could tell he was just scared. He wasn't really talking. He just said he had to do
it. And testimony resumes later this morning.
Shout out to Miss Big.
Rittenhouse could face life in prison.
Well, hey there, Jimmy.
All right, we're going to get into it. The first person that testified today was, I believe his name is Koerri Miller, Koerri. I'm sorry, Koerri Washington, Koerri, last name Washington. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But he was the first one to testify today.
Good afternoon.
How's it going?
Could you make sure you pull that microphone really close so we can hear you well?
Sure.
Could you state your name for the record and spell your first and last name?
Koerri Washington. Koerri spelled Koerri. Washington, Washington.
What is your current employment?
I'm self-employed.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a social media influencer.
And would that include doing live streams on Facebook?
Yes.
Now, do you live here in Kenosha?
Yeah.
Shout out to Teresa Kelly.
My entire life, I was born and raised here.
And did you go to school here?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Starting from elementary school.
Middle school and high school.
I went to Washington Middle School, Ruther and ITA.
And you mentioned that you do some work on social media. Were you involved in doing some live streaming on the night of August 25th, 2020?
Yes.
Why were you out there doing that on that particular night?
There was a lot happening in the city.
What was your purpose in trying to document that?
Just create transparency.
What do you mean by that?
When things are going on, there's a bunch of opinions. You never know, what really might happen. So people like myself tend to go out and document situations just so there's a record of things. A lot of the...
Shout outs Irie Z. What's up with you, boy? The correct answer he should have gave is that Supreme Court ruled that anything could be recorded in public by a private citizen. And that's the whole point about it, is to show transparency.
The time, especially, media, there's sound bites and things that can be utilized. In my opinion, people like myself make things better for everyone because it helps show at least another side of the full picture.
Now, tell us what was going on in Kenosha around the time period of August 25th, 2020, in your own words.
There was a lot of protesting. There was a lot of property damage that ended up happening throughout the week. Some would say riots, civil unrest. Some would say uprising.
Would it be fair to say that that began after the shooting of Jacob Blake on Sunday night, August 23rd?
It definitely began after the shooting of Jacob Blake.
When did you personally begin your process of live streaming or documenting what was going on?
The night the shooting of Jacob Blake took place.
Sunday night?
Yes, Sunday night.
Tell us about what you did.
Starting from the beginning.
On that particular night after the shooting, I assume you made some sort of decision. I need to be out there taking video.
I mean, it was a Sunday night. Typically, I try not to work on Sundays. I had just taken a lady friend of mine to dinner. We got back, received a phone call, received a message with a video. Saw the video. They said, "Hey, we're probably going to need you to come document." And I was like, "Of course." So I just went out, went to the location where the shooting took place. Kind of just watched and documented as people kind of gathered onto the scene as things kind of progressed throughout the night.
Do you recall approximately how long you spent out there that night?
Several hours.
All in the area near where the shooting occurred?
No. So, I mean, the shooting occurred. There was, bedlam took place. The police ended up leaving. A march ensued. I followed the protesters to the courthouse here and the safety center and kind of just followed along wherever everything was kind of taking place.
Tell us in your own words what you observed about what was going on with the protests and things like that.
Does your resume look like this? This is not a great resume.
I mean, from that point,
let's start with that first evening, Sunday night. You said there was a march from the site of the shooting to this area. What did you observe?
So, when I arrived on the scene, there was a crowd already there. It wasn't too large of a crowd, but over a period of a few hours, the crowd began getting larger and larger and larger. You could start seeing license plates and people from out of town showing up on the scene. Once there was, I'd say, too many people, I guess, for the sheriff's department to handle in that location. They spoke with the gentleman. After they spoke with him, I guess they decided to leave. They came back to the police station, and then afterwards, the crowd was there, and they're like, "All right, let's head to the courthouse." So I just followed along the way.
By the time the crowd got to this area by the courthouse, can you give us an estimate of how many people were involved?
Few hundred people, maybe. It's hard to say. It was by that time it's incredibly dark outside. There was a heavy police presence. I believe by the time the protesters got to the location, there was already, I believe, police from neighboring counties and cities already here to help. So to me, maybe 500 people. I'm not sure off top. There was definitely a lot of people over time, and it kind of seemed to just kind of keep growing as things progressed throughout the night.
Now, once the crowd got into this area by the courthouse, did they primarily stay here, or did the action move elsewhere?
So as far as I could tell, initially things kind of remained outside of the safety center building. There was a lot of, sheriffs and police in riot gear kind of lined up. There were protesters kind of going back and forth with police officers, things of that nature. At a certain point, I don't know what happened. There was like tear gas deployed. People kind of started, spreading out. People were getting shot with rubber bullets. I had got shot and stuff like that too at the time of all of the disbursement. Took a few minutes to kind of, gather myself, got some attention, someone kind of patched me up or whatever. Get out, out here to face Civic Center Park, right out in front of the courthouse here. And that's when I kind of noticed things were, I guess you could say, out of control. Throughout the entire summer, there had been a lot of protests going on. Activists kind of going out peacefully protesting, letting their voices be heard. So I was out, documenting all of that. But the moment when I came out and we had the roads blocked off with the garbage trucks or whatever, kind of to, I guess, contain the crowd or whatnot. But when I came out, I noticed all of the garbage trucks were on fire. There was kind of the point where I was like, oh, all right, this is not like anything that's been going on all summer. So.
Did you see other incidents?
So apparently the heat must have not hit Kenosha at the time in the wake of the whole George Floyd situation prior to August 25th, I believe, was the date that Kyle Rittenhouse had that incident. But prior to that, I guess the heat of everything that was going on for that whole summer had not hit Kenosha until the Jacob Blake situation.
Of property damage after that?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
There was a lot that was kind of going on. You know, of course, the trucks were on fire. I filmed someone going into the back of a truck probably a few minutes after it had exploded from the gasoline catching fire, going to the back trying to find debris or something to, break windows or whatever it may be. Captured someone throw, it seemed like a napalm or something, onto the courthouse. That got extinguished. And then there was another point where, some masked
If it was some napalm out there, then that means it was government agents out there.
Individuals in black were trying to burn down the dinosaur museum. So, for the most part, I try to not involve myself. The situation with the dinosaur museum, I involved myself in the situation just because, we don't have much stuff around here, And I'm a father, I have kids, I've grown up, I've gone to the dinosaur museum. So at that point, I kind of realized, I suppose it was not like, this is getting way too out of hand, not saying that I condone people, being aggressive towards police or the courthouse or anything like that. But I could understand their grievances, I suppose, in the situation. But when it started leaking out to other stuff, like the dinosaur museum and stuff like that, that's when I was like, okay, well, this is...
The dinosaurs didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything that was going on.
What did you do to involve yourself in that situation? You said you did with the dinosaur museum.
I stepped up, I kind of shouted at the crowd, like, hey, like, what are you doing? Kind of slightly interrogated one of the people that I assumed was involved. He seemed pretty passionate about burning it down or whatever it may be. And from there, kind of people in the crowd, I guess, I don't know, kind of were like, hey, yeah, he's kind of making a point or whatever. And then from there was kind of a dispute, and I kind of found a way to kind of get myself out of the situation because it seemed to be getting pretty heated. So,
did you observe any property damage that first night, Sunday night, in any other parts of Kenosha?
What's your response?
Well, I think first of all, it lays sort of the context of the whole situation. But second of all, there's been a lot of allusion to the fact that the defendant was motivated to come down here in response to this. So I think it's important that we get evidence about what it was that was going on. You may continue.
So for the most part, of course, there was people that kind of trickled into other areas. But as far as I was able to see and document for the time that I was out there, which was quite a while, most people were kind of staying together in the same group, in the larger group. But of course, in a hot situation like that, of course, there's going to be people with their own motives and objectives that may go out and do other things as well. So
I guess my question was, did you personally witness
Drop in the comments how y'all feel about the live streamer's testimony.
Property damage along, say, 22nd Avenue, for example, or 60th Street, or any other parts of town?
So no, not that I recall. Of course, when the march was happening from the location of the shooting to the courthouse, I mean, there was, traffic stoppages and things of that nature, but people weren't being violent with random pedestrians or anything like that. It was really just like a march to this area.
Okay.
And until we got over here, that's when actual damage started taking place.
Now, I believe you indicated that there were times during the summer where you were out recording people who were letting their voices be heard here in Kenosha. Is that fair to say?
Yep, multiple times a week.
Did you kind of get an idea of who?
Multiple times.
Letting their voices be heard, or where you were out recording people who were letting their voices be heard here in Kenosha. Is that fair to say?
Yep, multiple times a week.
Did you kind of get an idea?
So I was under the impression that there wasn't any type of protest or anything going on prior to the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting, but he just stated that multiple times a week there were protests, which I would feel comfortable to say that it was in light of the George Floyd situation.
Idea of who kind of the main people were involved in those sorts of events?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
On this Sunday night, after Jacob Blake was shot,
Right.
did there appear to be a different type of crowd to you?
Yes. So in my opinion,
Shout out to Israel Jr. Feliciano. What's going on? Israel Jr. Feliciano. He says he was awesome. I believe so. I believe he was good. It could have been some things he could have worded better. But other than that, I think he did a good job.
So initially, the people that were on the scene are familiar faces. As things got more and more heated and more people started showing up, faces started to become more unfamiliar. I noticed at a certain point, I know for a fact the gentleman that talked to the sheriff before the sheriff's department and the police department ended up leaving was a gentleman, I believe, from Black Lives Matter, Milwaukee. But I had not seen him before, and I mean, if you review some of my footage, I recall saying several times, like, who is this guy? Why are they talking to this guy, to kind of figure out what's going on? Because at the end of the day, most of these people seem to just be people that are passionate about what happened, but not organized at all. So,
And when you were out on that Sunday night, were you live streaming on Facebook?
Yes.
Is it possible for folks to still go up and see that on your Facebook page?
Everything
Shout
that
out
I've ever
Charlie
recorded,
Cruz.
unless it was taken down by Facebook, and I haven't received any notice that anything's been pulled. It's all live on my Facebook.
So let's fast forward to the next night, Monday night, the second night of protests and whatnot. Were you out live streaming that night?
Yes.
How would you characterize the events of Monday night as compared to Sunday night?
Thousands of Massachusetts residents are...
Got Wolfie Gladly in the background, about to bring him on. Yo, Wolfie, what's going on, bro?
What's up, dude? Well, who's this guy? I wasn't paying attention today. I don't know.
So this is day 2. I accidentally
Well, it's day 3. Day 1 was just like bullshit.
I changed that. I made a mistake on the title, but it's day 3. Koerri Washington was the live streamer who was recording that night. He's the one that got the bulk of the footage.
Was he BG on the scene?
You know what? I was trying to figure out what name his YouTube channel was, and I didn't come across that, but it could be. I did hear that name before. And then
I think he shares people's live streams, though.
It's another channel that was out there, Rundown or something.
Yeah, I think he takes people's like Facebook lives and makes a YouTube video and captures it and shares it.
Right.
So I don't think BG's the same guy. All right, so this guy was the dude recording it.
Yeah. Shout out Philly Boy 420. What's going on, man? Well, Ferriera. What's going on? So you didn't catch nothing today? You didn't catch any of the trial today, you said?
What was that?
You didn't catch any of the trial today?
No, I didn't. I'm just catching up right now. I only see that. I'm like 10 minutes in to your stream.
Compared to Sunday night?
So at nighttime, I would say it's worse because there was more people here. It seemed, in my opinion, it just seemed that it was I guess, the best case scenario for something like this to happen, just with everything that was going on in the nation. There was a giant migration from the West headed to Washington. The situation with George Floyd was hot in Minnesota, and people were kind of close to get here. I'm sure everyone knows there's plenty of people from Minnesota that ended up in Kenosha that night and the following nights. The next night, that Monday night, there was protests and things throughout the day. As far as I recall and remember, during the day, everything was peaceful. There was talks of, hey, like, we can't allow stuff like that went on before to go on again. But as, nightfall comes, there's more mysterious people in the city. You don't really know, everybody. And again, everybody has their own motives, really, in a situation like that. So you definitely could tell that there was plenty of people being, I could suppose, opportunistic about the situation.
Some of the more noteworthy instances of property damage during all this, I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. The Car Source lot over on the east side of Sheridan burned one of these nights. Are you personally familiar with that?
Yes.
Did you witness any of that? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes.
What night was that? Do you recall?
I believe it was Monday night.
There was also a lot of damage to the uptown area along 22nd Avenue.
Yes.
Did you witness any of that?
Yes.
Do you remember which night that was?
I believe that was Monday night as well.
And then I know the probation and parole office on 60th Street burned down. Do you remember if that was Monday night as well?
I believe it was. I'm sorry, I don't, it's not something that I necessarily really wanted to go back and review several hours of, with everything that kind of transpired.
He should just say, I can't remember.
More than likely that Monday night. I know for sure when the parole office burned down, I was there. I saw people go into it. I heard people say, let's burn down the parole office, and witnessed it on fire.
So witnessed it on fire. So let's go to the night of Tuesday night, August 25th, 2020, the night when the events of this case occurred. Were you out live streaming that night as well?
Yes, I was.
And how would you compare Tuesday night to the previous couple of nights?
I would say it was calmer, much calmer. The crowd was more contained. There was a march that happened. That kind of ended towards the end of the night, maybe around 6:30 or 7 or so. That ended at Civic Center Park. The conversation that was had at the end of the march was, hey, everybody remain peaceful. Go home after this if if you're seriously about, wanting change and wanting justice to go home. After that was said, people dispersed. A lot of people did go home, but there was people that didn't go home, of course. And those people that didn't go home, they kind of stayed there at Civic Center Park there until at a certain point they were kind of driven out of the park.
Pause it real.
Between those.
I can attest that at the first George Floyd rally in Philadelphia, before shit got out of hand, everybody was peaceful and they were there for a reason. And then right after we marched out to the streets after the art museum, everything just got out of hand and unraveled. I saw white people spraying BLM on private businesses. I saw BLM people pushing those people away. I saw a lot of weird things that I never thought I'd ever seen, but you had to be there in person to really understand exactly all the shit that happened there. It was really weird. It was strange. That's all I have to say.
I want to piggyback on what you just said, try to give a little more explanation from what I was saying. I was saying the same exact thing. Shout outs to Ivory Z and Regina Madison. And yes, that was his video, the part they're going to be showing coming up further in his testimony. But what I seen was the same thing you were saying, but it seemed just like you said, you seen white people spraying or throwing stuff at buildings.
Heavily masked white people because they were using the pandemic.
But disguised as Antifa, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were Antifa, dude. And and the Black Lives Matter people were like, "This isn't the place for that. You know, you don't do that to a restaurant." When a white person spray paints BLM on a restaurant, the next day when they go there, they're gonna think a black person did it. It's not right. You know what I'm saying? It's not their place to do that. You know what I mean?
But and
Especially
that's
to a private establishment because people are struggling as it is with the pandemic and shit at that time. You know?
yeah, and that's something changed. You was talking about like everything was peaceful, and then it just burst into riots and like just a whole pandemic of.
Dude, I got caught in the middle of a looting thing.
Hold on,
Like I watch everybody looting around me. I was walking like a fucking lost soul, watching everybody jump out of broken windows with purses from Louis Vuitton and shit in the market district. Yeah, I was and handing them to their girlfriend. Which one do you want, and which one am I gonna sell? You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, what the fuck is happening here? Like this shit was a weird fucking day. It was. I always wanted to be a news person when I grew up. When I was younger, but then I realized that everybody's in the news industry is a fucking Satan worshiping teleprompter reader, right? But now that I can do it myself, I felt like I was there. I was there. I was in it. I was in the whole thing. There was like tear gas being poured out of a freaking SWAT truck. They put signs up against the holes they were pushing it out of. It went back in their truck. They all started getting tear gassed out. They jetted. They left. I was like, the people won against a SWAT truck. I was there for that. I was like, the whole thing. Dude, I was thinking about you, Resistance. I was there. I was thinking about you because you had just left a few weeks prior. And I was like, I wish freaking Resistance could be here. Sit here trying to say your name and shit. But everybody knows your name. I was like, man, I was wishing you were here, man, for that. And
I felt a little bad about that because it just happened in Washington. I mean, it just happened in Seattle, and I was there for that. And right when it's popped off in Seattle, it popped off in Philly.
right,
I,
like
I was like back and forth on each coast. I couldn't. Philadelphia was one that I couldn't make. I was upset. But
yeah,
y'all, yeah, you in Southeastern PA was there, and y'all held it down though.
yeah, we were there with James Madison audits.
Right, yup. Because y'all
James
called.
Madison audits like took like some weird ass flight the day before, right? People were like reaching out to me, talking about James Madison audits is in Philadelphia. Hit him up.
Charlie Cruz, appreciate you, bro.
I was like, all right, I'll hit up James Madison audits and shit.
Right.
So we got connected and shit. I was like, let's go tomorrow because that was a Friday. He got there or whatever. He went to the same federal courthouse I went to on 7th and Market. You know that federal courthouse there?
Yeah.
Pussy ass courthouse, dude. I have a video. It shows it. Yeah, the judge signed off on it. You're gonna have to fight that. You're gonna have to spend 30 grand to change that. There's no contingency. There's no real lawsuit. You have to fucking fight it. You have to spend money to do it. Spend the money, right? So, fucking James Madison was there, and he made a funny ass video out of it. It was funny. I was like, yeah, James Madison's in Philly. He's in Philly. And then he got in touch with me, and then I was like, I'll meet you there tomorrow. There's supposed to be a George Floyd protest, right? And it was the first George Floyd protest that Philly held. They were a couple days behind everybody else and fucking all the shit up and blowing shit up, right? And I was like, we'll just see what happens, right? Fucking shit turned into a tornado as soon as we went to the city. As soon as we went to the city, after the fucking guy pushed the other guy off from spray painting BLM and shit, we get around the corner, we get to City Hall, we make a left on Broad Street and shit. We go down there. All of a sudden, the fucking cop cars start getting stomped on, fucking smashed, burnt on fire, flares thrown in them and shit. Like, I was like, shit, dude, this shit's getting crazy. Fucking car parts are flying in the fucking air as the shit explodes. The shit
Things
was
got real heated last year. It was real a lot of tense moments during that 2000 during that late spring and summer of 2020. This right here was like about the last of it though. One of the few of the summer at the end of the summer, and then we had the situation that happened right outside of Minneapolis later. But this right here was about the last of it in the summer of 2020.
I just had to say what's up to Regina Madison. I see her in the comments over there.
Shout out to
She's
Regina
a G.
Madison, Barbara White, Philly Boy 420. Perfect sense winning.
Perfect sense.
Charlie Cruz, thanks again, bro. I appreciate you. But no, to answer your question, well, to explain a little bit more when you said things were peaceful and then it just turned chaotic. You know, the provocateurs was out there, and those guys dressed in black, whether they was acting like they were Antifa or government agents. It only takes one person to throw something.
It's all hijacked. It's all hijacked. BLM isn't the same movement it was when it was Trayvon Martin. If somebody's gonna try to say it is, I'll just laugh. You know what I'm saying? It's not. It's been taken over. And so has Antifa. Antifa used to be a good group too, like back in the '70s. Man, they're old existent, man, and they like to be called Antifa or whatever, right? But it changed. Everything's all fucking weird and hijacked and shit. Like there's some people that are like, yeah, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, I believe in Black Lives Matter, but they don't really understand exactly the hijackers that took it over and shit. Like it's weird shit. It's all cold shit to me. Yo, I'm me. I'm not a part of no group. I don't do no groups. No groups. Not conservative, liberal, Antifa, BLM,
A lot
anything.
of people got me confused with that last year because, they say, well, are you reporting the situation or are you part of the situation? Well, it's both. I don't come just from a reporter stance or the media stance. I come from the experience of living it too. A lot of people thought, oh, he's BLM. Nah, I'm out there. The whole scene on the protest that I've been to was 60% of the community, right? And then the 40% is these groups, different groups, Antifa, Black Lives Matter, depending on where you at, Proud Boys, all these different kind of groups. And then also is provocateurs mixed up with that as well. So like people that were coming out from the community mostly were young. And we know how influential young people are.
Right.
So
I got you. Keep going.
whatever wave that starts to flow within the protest, a lot of the young people are going to go with it. So what I seen was a lot of young people out there, and when the situation came time for looting or breaking stuff up or burning something, which I believe was started by the provocateurs, I can't say that for sure, but I was there. I seen these people dressed in certain clothing and doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was there. Shit's a circus, bro. You were there. You were at more than I was.
That's how it goes. Like, people who are out there, they're young, they're ignorant, they really don't know what's going on, they don't know what they're out there for. They're going to go straight to the action. And
well, let me tell you this. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Is it okay, or do you want to finish?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was at like I felt so fortunate to be at the first George Floyd protest in Philadelphia where all the cars exploded. There was like 5 or 6 cop cars they burned on fire and shit. It was just such a weird experience and shit. Fucking Southeastern PA walked by the car, then started running because he felt like his skin was gonna melt off of him. Yeah, I was like, I told you don't do it. But yeah, hey, what's up, Noli? So no, like I felt fortunate to see exactly what exactly was happening. I felt like I saw an inside peek at how an operation was going because we had an altercation. I have a long ass video. I tried to clip it down as hard as I could, but I felt like everything that I put in the video was important. It still was like long,
Right.
but um, like we had an altercation with the Antifa people who all seemed to be like 18 years old. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's
They
so weird. It's so weird, yo. And then like I saw the other shit with the kids spray painting the shit and the Black Lives Matter people being the better person and saying, "Get the fuck out of here! Don't do that." You know what I'm saying? So I saw that and I was like, "What the fuck kind of psychological experiment is happening in front of me?" And then I went to the January 6th shit and I got to watch that. I wasn't there when it happened. I got there afterwards and I got to watch the flashbangs and everybody getting pushed back and shit off the building. Um, but no way was I ever going to step up to those steps. I had an opportunity, and you know what I mean, but I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't stupid.
right.
Like I'm holding a camera, so I was live, but it's all choppy and shit. I regret that. I should have just did a fucking static recording. But
Hold on real quick, Wolfie. I'm gonna play some more of this video. Probably about 2 minutes.
go ahead. Yeah.
Until at a certain point they were kind of driven out of the park.
Were you there to witness the interactions between those people in Civic Center Park and the police at this particular scene?
Yes.
On that night?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that there were some fairly violent confrontations between the protesters and the police right outside of this courthouse that night? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Other than that, were you checking around the area to see whether there was property damage in other parts of the downtown area that night?
Yes, so I generally what I would do, like I would always kind of survey the area to see what was kind of going on. I'd find the crowd, figure out where the crowd was, see what they're doing, kind of go in the general area around, a couple block radius or whatever it may be.
So when you were watching the crowd that Tuesday night, other than the demonstrations out in front of the courthouse, did you witness a lot of other arson, looting, property damage, that sort of thing on that particular night?
No, not on Tuesday night.
Now, there came a time in which you were recording your live stream along Sheridan Avenue. Is that right?
Yes, Sheridan Road, yeah.
And are you familiar with the Ultimate gas station?
Yes.
Okay. And that's at 60th and Sheridan, is that right?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you spent some time that night recording some video?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to have play a portion of your live stream. Could we begin at 18 minutes, please? And this has been marked as exhibit number 11, and I hope so. Let me just make sure that the power's on and everything.
All right, y'all. 39 minutes in, and I just changed the title to the correct title from day 1 to day 3. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yo, let's get it, yo. We got the evidence. We got the live stream coming through. We're gonna watch the damn live stream. Like it. Look, they're all getting juicy.
Shout out to Israel Jr. Feliciano too for checking me up on that.
I checked you up on it too.
I want to pause for 1 second before we continue. Mr. Washington, what we're seeing on that screen, is that the live stream that you recorded on the night of August 25th?
Yes.
And do you recognize the location that's being shown in that video?
Yes, that's the at the Ultimate gas station facing west, kind of looking at the church. I believe is a church right there.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to turn the power on, but it didn't matter.
Johnny Stuggets, what's up, bro? I got your comment up on the screen. Hit the link. Tell us more of your thoughts.
I discovered that 8
White up this wireless man. So I got a fire on the street. I got a downstairs season. So I downstairs season. Look like a regular situation, right, Wolfie? Regular.
I might have never seen this guy's camera angle of this before. This might not have been released publicly until now. I don't recognize it so far.
This is Facebook. This is a Facebook video.
Okay.
It was posted on 8/25/2020, the night that
so I definitely saw this, but it's not this portion. This portion is all boring and shit. It's not the part. Yeah.
I'm going to pause one more second just to help everybody understand what we're looking at here. First of all, we just heard someone's voice. Was that your voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Muffled because I had a mask on.
Sure, I
Go
understand.
with something like that.
Do you have that easel still?
not sure. I raise
I'm
it.
just going to have you show us on this map so everybody's oriented to where we're at. I've got a map here of the city, so I just want to have you point out where we're at so that everybody can put it into context.
Okay.
Oh, yes, right here. We'll have
Yo, the guy looks good in that suit, though. He wears it well. Yeah, he's killing it over here. Right.
All right, Mr. Washington, I've got a map up of the downtown area of Kenosha.
Even though.
Please point out where the ultimate gas station is. Okay. And that is at the intersection of the southeast corner of 60th and Sheridan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. The video we were just watching, which just here for a second, but it's back. I'm rolling.
So
I was just going to ask that question.
what kind of style of haircut is that right there? The prosecutor cut. The little peacock style he got going on there on the top of his head.
I don't know. Where's all these bitch ass motherfuckers masks at? Right? The little masks they complain about all the time. Where's that at? Where's that at? Look at all these fucking people. Like, you see what I'm saying? They're gonna change back. They're gonna be like the mask again once people start getting sick. But that's another thing.
That was the Methodist Church. So, Judge, the southeast corner is Ultimate Gas. The southwest corner is First United. This map north is off. Did you see 60th and Sheridan? I did.
He did. He told him. He told him right there in his face. He was like, "Did you say 66th and Sheridan?" He said, "I did."
I disagree with you.
And then there was a pause.
Where the Methodists been going to church.
That's across the street, Joe.
All right, I'm going to accept the correction.
So, Mr. Washington,
Damn.
and you had described in your video that at one point, and I think at this point, as we look, is that video now pointed west?
Yes.
And on the map there, it indicates that the Methodist Church is across the street to the west of Ultimate Gas. Is that right?
Yep, right there.
Okay, that's what it says. Of course, Your Honor, of course. Please.
Why is this guy so active, yo? He like moves out of camera. He's waving his arms around. What the hell is this guy's whole deal?
No, he's explaining that he's trying to get Koerri Washington to authenticate the video.
No, I got you, but at the same time, he's look at the judge, like the still frame that you have right there. Like the judge is not amused. He understands what this prosecutor is trying to do. That's the prosecutor, right?
Yeah.
So this prosecutor is sitting there, he's flailing his arms around. If you go back like 10 seconds, the dude's flailing his arms around trying to be cute for the court, and then he's like swaying out. Yeah.
At one point, and I think at this point, as we look, is that video now pointed west?
Yes.
And on the map there, it indicates that the Methodist Church is across the street to the west.
No, it just looked like he's trying to.
Wait, watch right here. Right here.
Of course, Your Honor, of course. Please, thank you.
But anyway, what I was
So now
trying
you can't even see him in the camera. Why did he back up that far? Now the judge is.
What I'm trying to point out is the judge. The judge had his character was kind of flaky to me, and
The judge is always flaky. He wears a dress.
His character was kind of flaky, but also he was real strict with a lot of things. But he also was a little dopey as well. And
Is that a shocker?
Seemed like he was more worried about lunch than anything when we get further into it.
Yeah. They don't give a fuck about shit.
That dumb shit's about to be lit up.
So they pulling a dumpster out into the street that they already had lit on fire. It's real smoky now. And pretty soon we're going to see something interesting.
For a second here because we're going to be viewing someone that I want to talk a little bit about. I assume since the night of August 25th, 2020, you're aware of who Joseph Rosenbaum is. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And let me just put you back in the state of mind of that particular night. As of August 25th, 2020, did you know?
Shout out to Big Spoon. Yeah, you are correct. He says the judge seemed to be pretty good to me. The Supreme Court has sided with his decision as well. He's definitely right because they had a situation 20 years ago that he stood on and it was reversed. So now you're definitely right. I was just taking some shots at his character. But yeah, he definitely stood strong on something that happened 20 years ago, a case that he had, and it was reversed by Supreme Court.
Who he was?
No.
To your knowledge, had you ever encountered him before in your life?
No.
Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with this video or not, but for the benefit of the jury, do you know? Are you able to recognize Mr. Rosenbaum in this video? He's not shown on the screen at this very moment because we paused a little bit. I didn't call timeout. But let me just ask generally, are you able to recognize him if you see him on the screen?
Yeah, I would know what he looks like, yes.
And that's based on what you've learned since all this happened?
Yes.
Okay. And just, I don't think there'll be any dispute about this. I'll represent for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that Mr. Rosenbaum is wearing a red shirt. He's got some, I think they're jean shorts, aren't they? And I don't think he's got anything. I don't think he's got anything on his head at this point. Okay. So he's kind of a shorter gentleman with nothing on his head, a red shirt. And you've got some video of him that we're going to see momentarily.
Can you pause real quick?
So
Dude, this guy screams bad prosecutor, just a fucking idiot, right? And I'm interested to get into like day whatever it is where the defense comes back and blasts and just I want to see what his defense is after the defense comes after him, right? Like this is a battle right now, right? Like this is like watching a football game every time you watch a court case like this. So this guy screams to me, idiot. Like just watch him. Just watch what he's doing right now, right? Just watch this whole thing, right? And then his time's up, and then the defense goes, okay, we're taking notes on all the dumb shit he's talking about, right? Now let's talk about this, and that, right? What's his answer going to be? Well, I'm just the guy that, just collects tax dollars. I don't even know shit really. You know what I mean? Like when a real attorney, this is the shit I love to see when a defense attorney owns a prosecutor. And he's gonna probably own this prosecutor, dude. I don't know how anybody feels about that. I'm not saying I feel either way either, but like this guy sucks.
Well, he's a prosecutor. They
He's
all,
not a good one. He's not
but
even a good one. They should have assigned the best one.
I see him trying to do something slimy today. He was trying to introduce some. He was trying to introduce a tape from another live streamer, and it came down to if that live streamer was here today to testify against Kyle Rittenhouse, and he wasn't. So he had demanded that the tape could be shown, but mostly it was played in silence. Only things that was relevant to the defendant.
Okay.
I think that was he was trying to do something slick right there. It was kind of like a backhand move, but I mean he's a prosecutor. That's what
He's weird and he's not good. I'll tell you that much.
Did you see anyone get physically injured in any way?
No.
Please continue.
Yeah, one more thing on that that mention of the live streamer that the prosecution tried to introduce the evidence. He tried to introduce the evidence. Well, he did, but they played it with mostly without a volume. This wasn't even Koerri Washington on the stand. This was a police officer who happened to be a detective who happened to be on assignment, and the prosecution was trying to get this detective on the stand to authenticate this live streamer's tape. So yeah, Big Spoon said they would have done things that probably would have got it overturned.
Hey, one more thing. If you're standing in a gas station during a major protest where bullets might start going towards people, I wouldn't stand at a gas station. Get away from the gas station.
Not quite the safest place to be during a protest, especially if it's going down.
Absolutely not. Looks like the cops are now leaving. Yo, don't. Come on, bro. What are y'all doing, bro? Yo, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Yeah, dude.
cops left, and as soon as they left, things just got heated. I'm not about to stand in a line of fire at all. So this right here is he's showing this footage is showing the tension, little tension that rose between the protesters and this so-called militia group that was out there to protect properties.
Yo, resistance.
Yo.
I'm happy that you're replaying this because it's been a while since whenever this footage came out. What was it, last year? So like I had to see it again and see if I reevaluated it.
Right. Hey, Big Spoon will keep coming in with the facts. He said, "Fun fact that comes out in trial today: the police turned off the gas pump to prevent fires and explosions." You're right, Big Spoon. I heard the detective say that as well, but I don't know. I still don't think it's safe to be around there if bullets is flying. Still could be a problem. Maybe, maybe not. No, I'm good, man. People throwing rocks. Be careful. Be careful because they're throwing rocks. Hey, how's it going? Good. Shout out Steve Wood. You know what I'm saying?
What is this showing?
So this was showing the tension of that. There was a little lightweight tension that happened between the protesters and the militia guys, and it was also along with that, it was also a little rock throwing, destruction of property going on as well.
Okay. Because
So
obviously this prosecutor is trying to use this footage. I'm like, what the hell am I even watching? To me, it just looks like people getting high in the back end of a concert.
yeah, well, he's building his case to try to, he's trying to make the jury see that these people who were armed were posed as a threat. Bottom line, he's trying to make it.
So does something happen soon here that makes his point or something? Because right now, all I see is motherfuckers just hanging out like they're drinking fucking mimosas in the back of a concert on the grass field ticket area.
Footage is you gotta let it play out. So you see a lot of, not necessarily arguing, but a lot of loud talking back and forth.
Okay, so this is the protesters versus the militia people.
Not necessarily. It wasn't really versus anybody. It was just what happened was sparked it off, and somebody yelled out when this live streamer asked what all the tension came from. Somebody responded and said that one of the guys who were armed were shining a green light from off their weapon.
So one of the militia people.
That's what they saying kind of started it off. Yeah, one of them.
All right.
they arguing with each other right now, and that's Kyle Rittenhouse right there.
Okay. So he's in a group and they're protesting each other. They're like, "Hey, back off!" Each other. They're arguing. I wouldn't run up to people with guns and start arguing with them. I'd just be like, "Okay, let's just leave the people with guns alone." But that's me. I'm a peaceful person. Like if I see people with guns, I'll be like, "Yo, I'm just gonna walk past you. We're just peacefully protesting." Wait, what's up with this chick's outfit?
Oh, right here in front of us.
Her backpack is like, what the hell is that anyway? Is that a suitcase? Who the hell is the guy in the hard hat?
It does
Who's
say
the guy in the hard hat right here? Who's this guy? Who the hell is this guy with the vest and the hard hat? He's so funny. I like that guy. She's got a big ass backpack, the biggest backpack I ever saw in my life. Everybody wishes they had a big enough backpack because it counts as one to go on a flight. Right? But this dude has the vest and the hard hat. It's just fucking funny. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, dude. Go ahead. I'm my bad.
no. Listen, this is an argument. This is like part of one of the reasons why things ensued between the armed men and the protesters, because there's an argument going on right now.
Yo, the guy in the hard hat is part of the argument, right? Between the backpack girl, right? But look how silly they both look. They both look silly as shit. Look at that. Oh, no, he has a backpack. Okay, he's back turned. Okay, he's with the woman with the other backpack. Okay. Resistance. Resistance.
Yo.
Let me ask you a question in the audience. Also, do you think it's worth having a petty ass fucking argument with people that will never ever believe your side of it? Do you not believe that people are obstinate? They're just gonna believe whatever they want, no matter what. Why even try to teach them to change?
That's a hard question, but
Does it work? Does it work in
yeah,
an environment like this? Does that work?
not every. Well, of course not. But you gotta understand, a lot of these people haven't engaged in nothing like this before. You know, this is not. These are things that people engage in. 2 or 3 times a week because of the situation of it.
They were new to protesting. They were
Huh?
like, let's get out there. They were new to protesting. They didn't know how to protest yet. They
I mean,
didn't understand why they were out there. They were just like, I just want to talk some shit. Fuck you.
well, that's the whole stage. That's the whole stage of it. A lot of people out there and have no idea why they out there. Like I said, it was a lot of young people out there thought it was, big
A
time.
trending thing to do.
Right. And didn't even understand, the real reasons of being out there. But to answer your question, no, not everybody. some people will listen, and be able to change, but then you got some people who are hard headed and they're gonna believe what they want to believe, and nothing that you can say can change them.
They want the big shit to happen. They want the big shit to happen. There's always the fucking antagonizers, the one that wants the biggest shit to happen to them. Like, let's have this happen, and everybody's gonna be fucked up, yo. And I'm gonna get it on video too. I'm like, we told you.
I probably got 12 more minutes of this left. Y'all can follow up on it. I got day 4 coming up tomorrow. Well, y'all can follow up on after Koerri Washington's testimony. There's a detective who testifies after him.
Hey, where's the shooting?
What'd you say?
What the hell is this? Is this from the prosecutor showing the judge and the court and a jury?
This is right before the shooting. This is everything that happened right before the shooting.
Oh, so we're not gonna see the shooting in this video.
Well, this is pretty much identification. Him, the prosecution asking basically who did he see, what was going on at the time. It wasn't really a show of Kyle actually shooting the people. It was pretty much him basically identifying who was around at the time. What were they stance and positions like, and were they violent? You know what I'm saying? That's what that was about.
Yeah, if I was a jury member, I'd be asleep. I'd be like, this is bullshit. Wake me up when the actual evidence happens.
I go to this gas station all the time, so hopefully it'll be fine. This is where I get cash out of the ATM, because across the street it's more expensive.
ATMs be expensive.
Indeed.
I was literally saying that, and bitches got in my face. I'm like, bro, I was the one saying everyone calm down.
I just can't believe that's an actual court clip.
I wasn't just wearing every hat.
What'd you say?
I just can't believe the prosecutor used that clip as anything. I get it. If you want to show the environment, you can clip it up a little bit, but the whole thing is dead space. It was like 5 minutes of just people shouting over each other, all being like, haha, yeah, we're here, and we're doing this, fuck y'all for that, whatever. And then it was like people just talking over each other, saying the same shit. And it was like 5 minutes. I was like, how would you use that? Like, you're gonna introduce that as the environment.
Did you see that as well?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of what their purpose was out there that evening? If you have one.
Shout out Sween Fame.
I mean, honestly, I didn't talk to everyone individually, so I mean, it's hard to really answer that.
Sure. It appeared to me that there were folks that had long rifles like AR-15s. Are you familiar with those at all?
Yeah.
Did you see folks at the Ultimate gas station armed with that type of rifle?
Yes.
How many would you estimate you saw?
Consistently at like one time or throughout a period of time?
One time. That we're all there.
Maybe,
One time.
maybe like 24, maybe a little more, something like that. Anywhere, but I'd say between 15 to 25 people.
And in the videos we saw there, or the section we just saw, it appeared that there were people kind of getting in the face or getting aggressive with some of those folks that were armed. Did you see that?
Yes, so as far as I recall, there was a lot of discourse happening, heated discourse, but conversations being had.
Did you see that lead to any violence? Anybody punch one another, shoving each other, shooting at one another, anything along those lines?
No, maybe there may have been nudging or something, not that I recall seeing, but nothing that would make you stop and direct your attention to it.
And I believe in that section we just watched, I saw two separate instances of dumpsters being set on fire. Did you see those as well?
Yes.
I don't know if that was the same dumpster twice or...
I believe it may have been the same dumpster.
Okay. And other than that being a perfect metaphor for the year 2020, did you see any property damage as a result of the dumpster fires?
No. As far as I recall, the dumpster was lit on fire because the police pulled up in an MRAP, and it seemed like protesters were like shoving it towards the police. It didn't seem like they were trying to destroy buildings with it or blow up the gas station or anything like that. There was a lot of people there. I don't know if people would let them do that.
And I want to ask that specifically because you're standing right next to the gas pumps in the video. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you feel like that was an unsafe place based on the dumpster fire in America?
No.
Did you see anyone ever push anything on fire towards the gas pumps?
No.
Okay. When you were doing your live stream, were there folks watching that you were aware of?
Yes.
Were you able to respond to them or communicate with them as the live stream was going on?
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's why throughout like the live stream, I mentioned like going to the Ultimate gas station to get cash out of the ATM. There was always viewers, some people from town, some people from out of town, some people with questions and stuff like that. There was a lot of when we had protests for, I guess, the big protest for George Floyd earlier in, I believe, May of 2020. There was a lot of disinformation that was going on. So what I generally do with my live streams is I look to the chat to see if there's things going on in certain areas, to see if people are spilling out somewhere, to see if things are actually happening somewhere, or to kind of quash false rumors or whatever.
Your Honor, I do have an excerpt that I'm going to play next that's probably going to be about 12 or 13 minutes long. I don't know if you want to take a break now and continue in the morning.
Are we going to... Will we end up breaking afterwards, and without this witness being complete?
Well, I may be done with my direct at that point. I'm not sure.
Well, we have to have him back for cross anyway. So let's break for the day. And please don't talk about the case overnight. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial. We'll start again tomorrow at 9, and hopefully get right at it. And
all right, y'all. I just wanted to get into a little bit of what happened today. That was the first half of the testimony of Koerri Washington. He will be back to testify some more. For those of you who didn't see it, shout out to Big Spoon for keeping us abreast of what actually happened and what I forgot happened. Good looking out on that. Only a shout out to Wolfie Gladly. You look like you sleep, bro.
I just want to say, everybody can rest assured that nobody's going to talk about the case.
Yeah.
It's a solid secret.
But I'm gonna try to keep up on this trial as much as possible. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow night. It was kind of boring, but there was some key things that was pointed out in the trial today. So I thought it was relevant to show the live streamers testimony and give y'all guys a point of view of how it is to be a live streamer out there in that type of environment. So
Hey, I just want to say on a side note, not to steal any glory from the Resistance show, but I want to say, I think when the defense comes out here, because I don't have any confidence in this prosecutor. Like, if this prosecutor was serious, I would have felt it. Like, this guy is brittle. He has nothing. When the defense attorney comes out, he's gonna tear this guy apart into pieces, and it's just gonna be what it is. Everybody can decide that later, but it's gonna be funny. I can't wait to see it.
well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll come on tomorrow. I'm about to sign off though, bro. You have a good night, man. Be safe out there.
Right on.
All right, bro.
Later.
All right, y'all. Y'all be good. Shout out to Miss B, Big Spoon, Oli D. See Wolverine Transparency in here. Wing Fang. Constitution Matters. Ray Z. Charlie Cruz, Steve Wood. Israel Jr. Feliciano. Appreciate y'all. Perfect sense when needed. Y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe out there. I'm out of here.